Good morning. This is a wake-up call with Josh and Val.
In today's episode, our guest will be Jae Head.
He's an actor that you may know from the movies like Hancock, The Blind Side, or TV show Friday Night Lights. So here is Jae Head.
One thing I'm really glad that my parents didn't do that I know a lot of people would have is because doctors told my parents, be careful with him, he's this, he's that, don't get him hurt, don't this, don't that. And my parents didn't want me growing up believing I was made out of glass, so to speak. And so they said, if he starts riding a bike, we're not going to make him, we're not going to be sitting there holding him while he's trying to learn how to ride a bike. If he gets on the bike and he falls off, that's part of it. That's how you learn. And which I'm really glad for, because I remember being a little kid and other parents were like, oh my gosh, why are you letting him do that? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? And my parents were like, he's fine. If something happens, and then obviously then we'll figure it out. But, they didn't want, like I said, they didn't want me growing up thinking I was made out of glass, because so many people treated me like that, which is really good. But that was the biggest thing, was just, being able to go outside and do stuff. And I remember there would be times they would hook me up to, because I had to go to the doctor every 6 months. And they would give me, I don't even know what the machine's called, but they would give me this huge machine to take home with me. It was like a computer, and I had stickers all over me, and it would record, my heart when I was sleeping, if I was running, whatever I was doing, it would record. And it always seemed like it always happened in the summer, right about the time the swimming pools would be open. And so I had this huge electronic thing connected to me, and I would have to sit by the pool, and I couldn't get in, I couldn't do it. So there, it was stuff like that is really where I felt I missed out. And then acting, came into play, because I always was the loudest and craziest in the room. And I always seemed to have this energy about me that I could just walk into a room and it could light up. And I don't know where it came from. I just had it. And so my parents always thought, we need to find something that he can do, that when all the other kids are going to football workouts and this and that and this, he has something he could be really good at. We didn't know what we were doing. We had no idea what's going on. You know what I mean? We were just winging it. Literally had no idea. I went to a talent search when I was 7, and in Dallas, Texas, and met an acting coach there. And I started, I kind of performed for him some things and whatnot. And he met with my parents. He said, I think your kid's got real talent. I think he could really work in this business. I really do. He said, I think it'd be a good idea if you moved to, if you came out to LA for a couple months for pilot season and just give it a whirl. And so literally me and my dad, we packed up our car, drove 2.5 days from the middle of nowhere in Texas to Los Angeles, California, and got going. We knew one person in the state of California, and that was it. And we started going from there.
So it seems like your parents handled everything really well and not being pushy or anything about that. So what would your advice be to parents where their children are interested in acting, or if they're the ones maybe kind of pushing their kids to do it?
I see so many people that come out here with their kids, and you can tell from the second they get here, the kids don't want to do it. It's completely all the parents. And I know your kid's young, you know what I mean? So they don't necessarily know what they want, but your kid knows whether or not they want to be in this business. Your kid knows whether or not they want to do this long term. And I didn't always know, but for the most part, I've always kind of had the same mindset with it. When I was actually doing it, I loved doing it. But when I was sitting around, I hated it. And I kind of looked at it as a chore. But I did enjoy it for the most part. But I had friends that were doing it, and they didn't want to be in LA at all. They didn't like it. They didn't like going to the auditions. So I think for parents, I think the thing is just, listen to your kid. They'll tell you if they want to do it or not. And because there was many times as a kid, I almost walked away from it to the point I was dialing the phone to call my manager that I was done. And then I stopped because I truly inside wanted to do it. A kid, you know what I mean? You know if there's something you truly want to do or not. So I think so many parents, listen to whether, if your kid wants to do it or not. And I tell you another thing that my parents have been, praised for over the years is getting the heck out the way. There's so many times they're the worst parents ever. And you see them on all the TV shows, all the reality shows with the famous kids and stuff like that, where the parents are just get out of the way. Just let the kid do the work. If they need you, they'll call you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I see so many parents that they're literally helicopter hover over everyone, and it pisses off the director. It makes the producers, everybody. It makes mad. It makes people anxious too.
Yeah.
My parents, literally, my mom would bring a book and just sit on set, and if I needed her, I'd go find her. If somebody, we needed to get her for someone would go find her for me. Other than that, I didn't really see my parents much when I was on set and doing stuff like that. They would just stay out of the way. There would be a lot of times they'd be like, do you want me to just stay in the trailer? I'll just stay in here. I got a book and, whatever. I can just do that. Which my parents have always, like I said, people have always said thank you for not being, one of those parents. The showbiz mom is what they call it, because there's so many of them. So that's my biggest thing I tell parents is, truly listen to your kid, because they'll tell you based on the way they act and the way they do things if they truly want to do this or not. Because I think at such a young age they don't know well enough about wanting to do it just for the fame and doing it just for the money. They don't understand at such a young, from what I experienced. So they truly are in it for the passion, and if they actually are enjoying it, they'll actually stay. But those are the two biggest things that I've noticed throughout the years. Because I've been around those helicopter parents, and neither of my parents were ever like that. But I had friends that had parents like that, and it was the worst.
Honestly,
it's just not fun for anyone.
As a director, like sometimes we kind of cast based off of the parents too.
That's the thing I've heard too. I've literally heard that happens. They said that they liked the kid, but they met the parents, and the dad was annoying, or the mom wouldn't be quiet, or whatever the situation was. The parents was what killed it.
Yeah.
And I see it a lot in the business.
This show is brought to you by the Beating the Odds Foundation.
If you want to learn more about the Beating the Odds Foundation, please visit their website right here, beatingtheodds.org, right here.
Learn it, breathe it, live it.